From shadowy deals to ruthless power plays, the world's most notorious cartels have shaped history in ways you'd never imagine. But what secrets are they desperately trying to keep hidden? Stay tuned, because what you're about to discover will change everything you thought you knew about organized crime. Notorious Cartels revealed the truth they don't want you to know. Cartel de los Soles. The rise of the Cartel de los Soles. The Cartel de los Soles has risen to prominence as one of the most shadowy and controversial criminal organizations in Latin America. Its name derives from the sun insignias worn by Venezuelan military officers, a stark reminder of the cartel's alleged ties to the country's armed forces. Unlike traditional cartels that operate in secrecy and isolation, the Cartel de los Soles is believed to function with the complicity of powerful officials within the Venezuelan government and military. This institutional entrenchment has allowed the cartel to thrive, even as Venezuela faces political instability and economic collapse. Over the years, evidence and testimonies from defectors, journalists, and international agencies have painted a detailed picture of the cartel's activities. Reports suggest that its members include high-ranking officers and government officials who exploit their positions of power to enable and protect illicit operations. As the line between organized crime and state governance blurs, the Cartel de los Soles symbolizes the fusion of criminal enterprise and political corruption, making it a unique and deeply troubling phenomenon in the region. Activities and influence. Drug trafficking. The Cartel de los Soles has emerged as a key player in the international cocaine trade, acting as a bridge between Colombian drug cartels and markets in Europe and the United States. Utilizing Venezuela's strategic location, the cartel facilitates the shipment of drugs through airstrips, seaports, and hidden smuggling routes. According to international law enforcement, these operations involve sophisticated logistics and extensive corruption, enabling the movement of hundreds of tons of cocaine annually. This has positioned Venezuela as a major transit point for narcotics, even as the country's own economy collapses. What sets the cartel apart is its alleged use of state resources to streamline operations. Military aircraft, official vehicles, and government-controlled infrastructure are reportedly repurposed to support drug trafficking. This level of state complicity creates a protective shield for the cartel, making its activities nearly impossible to disrupt without addressing systemic corruption. These actions not only tarnish Venezuela's global reputation, but also fuel the international drug trade, contributing to violence and addiction worldwide. Corruption. Corruption lies at the heart of the Cartel de los Soles operations, with high-ranking military and government officials allegedly complicit in its criminal network. Whistleblowers and investigative journalists have exposed a web of bribery, kickbacks, and power abuses that allow the cartel to operate with near-total impunity. These revelations implicate top figures in the Venezuelan armed forces and political elite, who reportedly use their authority to shield cartel members from prosecution. This corruption erodes the rule of law and perpetuates a culture of criminality at the highest levels of government. The extent of the cartel's influence has made it a central pillar in Venezuela's descent into a kleptocratic state. Corruption tied to cartel activities has siphoned billions of dollars from public resources, money that could have been used to address Venezuela's crippling humanitarian crisis. Instead, the cartel's activities exacerbate the country's financial instability, leaving millions of citizens in dire conditions while enriching a select few. The Cartel de los Soles exemplifies how systemic corruption can devastate a nation and its people. Smuggling. In addition to drug trafficking, the Cartel de los Soles is deeply involved in other forms of smuggling, including the illegal trade of gold, weapons, and consumer goods. This diversification ensures the cartel's continued profitability and further destabilizes the region. Venezuela's vast natural resources, particularly its gold reserves, have become a prime target for illegal mining operations, many of which are linked to the cartel. Smuggled gold often funds further illicit activities, fueling a cycle of crime that extends beyond Venezuela's borders. This smuggling network affects not only Venezuela's economy, but also its environment and local communities. Illegal mining has led to deforestation, contamination of water sources, and exploitation of vulnerable populations. The cartel's involvement in these activities highlights the multifaceted nature of its operations, which combine environmental destruction with economic exploitation. The Venezuelan government's inability or unwillingness to crack down on these practices underscores the depth of its complicity and the scale of the challenges facing the nation. Impact on the Venezuelan population. The Cartel de los Soles has left a devastating mark on the Venezuelan population. As corruption diverts state resources into criminal enterprises, public services such as healthcare, education, and infrastructure have crumbled. Ordinary citizens struggle to access basic necessities like food and medicine, while inflation has rendered local currency nearly worthless. The cartel's activities have thus compounded Venezuela's humanitarian crisis, leaving millions in poverty and driving an exodus of migrants seeking refuge in neighboring countries. In areas where the cartel exerts direct control, communities face additional hardships. Violence, extortion, and displacement are common in regions used as smuggling corridors or drug trafficking hubs. Civilians who oppose or expose the cartel's operations risk retaliation, further entrenching a climate of fear and lawlessness. The intertwining of criminal networks with state institutions has made justice and accountability nearly impossible, forcing Venezuelans to endure both systemic corruption and the daily realities of organized crime. International implications. The Cartel de los Soles' reach extends far beyond Venezuela, making it a focal point in international efforts to combat drug trafficking. Authorities in the United States and Europe have identified Venezuela as a major transit point for cocaine shipments, prompting sanctions and indictments against alleged cartel members. These measures aim to weaken the cartel's operations, but they also underscore the challenges of addressing a criminal network so deeply embedded within a sovereign state. Despite mounting evidence, the Venezuelan government continues to deny the existence of the Cartel de los Soles, framing accusations as politically motivated attacks. This stance has complicated international diplomatic efforts and left the Venezuelan people caught between internal corruption and external pressure. As the global community grapples with the cartel's influence, the question remains whether meaningful action can be taken without exacerbating Venezuela's already dire situation. A crisis of accountability. The Cartel de los Soles represents the intersection of organized crime and state dysfunction, a combination that has devastated Venezuela and threatened regional stability. For the Venezuelan people, the cartel's unchecked power symbolizes the broader failure of their government to prioritize their needs over the profits of corrupt elites. Each day the cartel operates with impunity, the country's recovery becomes more difficult, leaving millions in despair. As international attention on the Cartel de los Soles grows, so too does the urgency for solutions. Combating this powerful network will require not only disrupting its operations, but also addressing the systemic corruption that enables it to thrive. For now, the Cartel de los Soles remains a stark reminder of the consequences of unchecked criminality and corruption at the highest levels of power. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world's most notorious cartels. If you found this video eye-opening, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. It really helps us out. Subscribe to the channel for more mind-blowing content just like this, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Got thoughts or questions? Drop them in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. And don't keep this knowledge to yourself. Share this video with friends who love true crime and history as much as you do. See you in the next one.